Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Vespa trip webinar. I would like to ask you to check in the chat box if you can hear me and if you can see the presentation. If somebody could do that, please. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Martin and Esther and Nadia. Thank you for responding. Okay, thank you, Rita. Welcome, everybody. I'll just wait another 2 minutes to see if anybody else wants to join, and then we'll start the webinar. Okay, some last people are joining. Okay, we'll kick off the webinar. First of all, once again, welcome everybody. My name is Gaitan. I'm the brand manager for the Vespa trip, and I will explain you all about our trips during this webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If I feel they are urgent or they fit into the thing I'm explaining at the time, I will directly answer them. If not, I'll keep them until the end because we'll have a small Q&A session and then I can answer your question as well. So if you have something to ask, if you want to give a remark or tell me something, you can just put it in the chats. So yes. So what am I gonna talk about tonight? I'm gonna show you a quick overview on who is part of the Vespa trip team. So who is organizing these trips for you and who is helping you from the office and on the spot. Then I'll explain you the Vespa trip in short. To then go in detail for the Toscany tour and the Amalfi tour, and then we'll end with the Q&A session, as I just told you. So the Vespa trip team, it now consists of 4 full-time employees working at the office. You can see Ansita, she's our project manager, and she will take care of all the productional and yeah, actually everything. I was going to sum up everything she's doing, but she's making sure that the trip goes well from A to Z, that the hotels are booked, that the guides are recruited, that the Vespas are there waiting for you, and that you have all the information you need. So that's Ansita. She can help you either in English or Dutch or French. So she's a bit, yeah, she knows it in every language, actually. Then you have me, Gaitan. I'm the brand manager. I'm just here checking if everything runs okay. And I'm a bit responsible for the bigger picture, the strategy, the destinations, the sales and the marketing. Then we have Mart. She supports our marketing. So she's in charge of all the communication you see on our socials, on the emails, the communication flow of this webinar, for example. And then we also have Nane, and Nane takes care of everything that's for the German market. And besides these 4, we of course have a lot of seasonal people working for us, the guides that will guide you on location. But those switch every year mostly. So we don't put them in the webinar, but you will meet them on the spot when you arrive in Italy. So the Vespa trip in short, most of you probably already read the website and know all about our trip. But in short, we're all about the feeling of pure freedom. So you'll drive your own Vespa. You can choose to drive it solo or drive it with the 2 of you. It's all up to you. So you can choose that during your booking. We do multiple destinations. We'll go to Tuscany and to the Amalfi coast this year. If you have questions about Sicily, I can already tell you that Sicily probably won't be on the planning for this year, as we have some things to sort out there with the local partners, so it won't be happening this year. We focus mainly on experiencing the Italian nature and the culture. So we try to guide you through the beautiful vineyards, across the typical roads that goes to a lot of spaces or places that you know from the movies or from the books or from the romances. So we try to give you everything that you can dream of if you think of Italy. You can always choose to do the trip on your own, with you and your friends or your family or your loved one. So you can actually rent a GPS and just do the tour on your own, or you can choose to follow our guides, and then they show you everything along the route, good spots to eat, to take pictures, to take a break, to just relax. And you can change this actually every day when you're on location. Then we also organize a Start to Vespa course. We strongly advise that if you've never driven a scooter before, that you do this before departing to Italy, because it's good to know a bit the feeling of a scooter, how to drive it, how to keep your balance. But we also offer a Start to Vespa course. On your first day of arrival, we take about 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, depending on how things go, to show you all about the Vespa and driving it. So we teach you a bit how it works, how you keep your balance, some small rounds, and then we take you on a bigger tour to see if everything works out fine. Then what's included in our package? So if you book the Vespa trip, your overnight stays in a hotel are of course included. We'll later on go into detail into which hotels. Then of course your Vespa plus the helmet plus an extra lock for the Vespa. Then the guide on location. So they will welcome you, guide you, support you. They will answer all your questions, and they will say goodbye when you go back home. Then we also have a road book to show you the routes, the USPs, the points of interest along the routes. And then of course the routes themselves, we made them for you. We test them every year again to see if they're still good, if they're still doable, and maybe if there are new things along the routes that can be included in the tour. So maybe good to know, as I put this picture here, so I would not forget, is that the fuel of the Vespa is not included, so that you need to take care of yourself, but that's mostly around 20-25 euros per tour, so it's not a lot. Then you can also choose some things, of course, some extra options for your booking during your registration. We have something called an early pickup and or a late drop-off. This means you can have your Vespa the day of arrival, because normally you only receive your Vespa in the morning on the second day. And the late drop-off means you can either keep it until the morning of the last day or until noon of the last day, depending on the destination. So actually you have one extra day of Vespa if you count the both halves together. As I already explained, the Start of Vespa lesson, you can also opt in for that. Then the GPS, you can already choose on forehand if you want to just go solo, then you just can add it to your booking, and then we know that we'll give you a GPS when you arrive. You can still change this on location, so you don't need to worry about choosing now. And then we have a couple of insurances. We have a travel insurance. If you don't have a travel insurance yourself, you can book one with us so that you're insured when you have medical costs. We hope not, of course, but if you have to go to the hospital or to the doctor, or something else happens during your trip, you're insured. We also have a cancellation insurance that goes for everything that happens before the trip. So if you take your insurance, you can cancel your trip for free until 60 days before departure without any reason. And from 60 days until the day of departure, you need a valid reason, and you can see the valid reasons on our cancellation conditions that you can find on the website, or if you don't find them, I can share them here if you want to have a look at it. And then, of course, you can take an extra insurance for the Vespa as well. That's around 89 euros, and it brings the liability from 350 euros to 0. So if you have an accident and there's damage to the Vespa, you don't have to pay anything. So that's about the options. Then we'll go into the destinations. First of all, Amalfi. As you know or don't know, the two destinations are quite different. So in Amalfi, we have only one hotel. It's a 4-star hotel, O Sole Mio. It's in Sant'Agata, and it's right next to Sorrento. And we always start from the hotel, and then we do kind of loops around the hotel. So you always stay in the same room, and you always start and come back to the same place. In Amalfi, we made 3 different routes. I'll explain them after this slide a bit more in detail, where we show you some hidden swimming spots, where we take you along the coastline to the very famous city of Positano, Amalfi, Ravello, things like that. We also go to Pompeii, of course, and to a little village in the mountains that's called Montefito. The early check-in, late drop-off, I already explained. So the Amalfi tour contains 5 days, where you arrive, for example, on Monday. You get your Vespa on Tuesday morning. You have it for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And on Thursday evening, you hand it back in to leave on Friday morning after your breakfast. That is always included, by the way. If you choose early check-in and or late drop-off, you can already receive your Vespa on Monday, in this example, or check out the Vespa on Friday on your last day. You can combine it or choose one or the other, or don't choose any of them. It's up to you. And how do you get there? In Amalfi, it's you fly to Napoli. Mostly there is a flight every day to Napoli from a lot of destinations. So that's the easiest way to get to Napoli, is to fly there. And then from Naples, you can get our shuttle bus. The hours or the advised hours will organize a shuttle bus you can find on the website. And if you cannot manage to arrive in the right time, you can also take the train to Sorrento and then a bus to the hotel, or just take a taxi from the airport. It's around 120 euros, so it's quite expensive, but if you need it, you need it. And then we can also arrange it for you if you can find the right partner. Then the routes, as I already explained you, we go to Pompeii, we go to Montefito, and we go to Ravello. Ravello, the one on the bottom, is the one along the coastline of Amalfi. We'll start with that one. It's around 80 kilometers, give or take. And it takes around 4.5 hours, because first of all, the coastline is a bit busy. So it's really, yeah, they're driving cars, they're driving other scooters, they're driving a bus, and they're driving actually some traffic. So it's not an empty road, but it's a really beautiful road. So nobody is driving really fast, because you're always looking at the right side to the sea, to the beaches, to the beautiful cities. So you actually cross Positano. You can, with your scooter, you can go all the way through Positano and go back up. So you don't have to walk all the stairs down and all the stairs back up. And then you can continue to Amalfi and Ravello. From Amalfi, you go back up a bit on the cliffs to Ravello, and then from Ravello, you have a beautiful view from Villa Amore. It's an old villa on top of the cliffs, where you can drink or eat something, and you have the most amazing view on the Amalfi coast. And then you go back the same way, because it's a beautiful way, so we don't want to take it away from you, so you can do it twice. Maybe switch drivers in the middle. And then if you follow our guides on this tour, we take a short break in Positano to just stroll around a bit, but then we go to Amalfi, and there we stop for a longer time, because it's more quiet, it's more relaxed, and it's more easy to just get around and see the city, or yeah, little village actually. Then the second one is the one to Pompeii. The one to Pompeii we do with the group. We only go to Pompeii anymore. We used to go to the Vesuvius as well, but it just takes too much time, and it's not relaxing at all. We had to hurry too much. So from now on, we just go to Pompeii. we take a visit to Pompeii, but we take our time. And then from Pompeii, we just go back to the hotel, but it's already almost a full day. But if you don't follow the guide, or if you want to follow the guide until Pompeii, you can always ask for a GPS and go to the Vesuvius yourself and visit it. It's definitely worth it, but it's just if you have a little more time, or if you want to drive a little faster than the group, then you can go to the Vesuvius and visit the volcano. Third, but definitely not least, is Villaggio Montefiato. As you can see on the picture, it's quite high. So you actually drive along the mountain/hill roads until you're on the top, and that's Villaggio Montefiato. You have two beautiful bistros there where you can lunch and have the almost panoramic view of the coast. And it's really nice to drive there, because you're at the side of the hill. You're in the sun all the time, and then on the top you go a bit amongst the trees and in the forest. So it's really surprise on the top before you reach the viewpoint. And then if you go back, you don't go straight to the hotel, but you go to Bagni Regina Giovanna, and that's small, very nice hidden swimming spot where you can dive in the water between the rocks and just refresh and chill in the sun with a drink. There's a bar right next to it, so it's really a nice place to just relax and swim off the sweat from all this Italian sun. So that was about Amalfi. Then we go to Tuscany, which is a completely different concept, of course. In Tuscany, we go from hotel to hotel. So we don't stay in the same hotel the entire time. We go from one to the other, and we start in Pisa. How do you get to Pisa? It's actually very easy. Pisa has an airport, so you can fly to Pisa. You can also go by car. We have a parking lot right next to the first hotel where you can park your car safely for 1 week. It's around 90 euros. And it's guarded by a guard, so it's really safe there. And otherwise, of course, you can go by any other public transport that goes to Pisa. You can also fly to Florence and then take a train or the bus to Pisa. So we have 4 different hotels, which means 4 different routes. We go from Pisa to Siena, to Florence, to Lucca, back to Pisa. It's all different days. And of course, you can imagine it's not so nice to drive the Vespa with your luggage between your legs or on your back. So in Tuscany, we have a van driving behind the group where we transport all your luggage in. So are Mario and Luigi on spot. They every morning they collect your luggage and they put it in the van so they can transport it to the next hotel. We try to focus in Tuscany. We try to focus on the vineyards and the historical cities. So you have the real Italian Tuscany vibe driving this tour. So the tour, as I told you, we started in Pisa. From Pisa, we go to Siena. From Siena, we go to Florence. From Florence, we go to Lucca. And from Lucca, we go back to Pisa. First leg is from Pisa to Siena. It's about 120 kilometers and takes around 3 hours and 15 minutes. But of course, it depends a bit on the group. If you're following the group, again, here in Tuscany, you can take your GPS and just go by yourself, or you can follow the group and follow the guide. With the group, we take a first break in Pontedera. Why, can you ask? Because the Pontedera is a home to the Vespa Museum that shows you all the history about the Vespa and the scooter, and it's actually a really nice place to visit. It doesn't take long. It's like 20 minutes, half an hour, and then you're back on your way. And then we'll take, of course, along the way, we'll take some other stops, just take pictures and drink some water. But then the next big stop is San Gimignano. You can see it on the picture, it's typical. It's known for this, a lot of towers with the flat tops, so you can see it from afar. We have a classic picture spot where you can take pictures with San Gimignano on the background. And there you can also eat the world's best ice cream. So you definitely need to stop there. We'll stop there with the group as well. You can have a small stroll through San Gimignano, and then we'll continue to Siena, which is also a very known medieval city, where we go for dinner with the group if you want to join. It's not mandatory, of course. You can just choose if you want to join the group or not. So every evening in Tuscany, we organize a group dinner where you can join or not. It's up to you again, and you can, of course, always choose every night again if you want to join or not. The next one is from Siena to Florence. This one is really right through the vineyards. So this day we'll also do a little wine tasting along the way. Of course, it's a tasting because we need to drive with the Vespa to Florence. Passengers are allowed to taste some more, of course, but the drivers can taste a small bit or small amounts of wine. We go to Rada in Chianti and Greve in Chianti, both very known for the wines. And it's about 130 kilometers, and it takes 3 hours and 50 minutes to 3 hours and a half of driving, but of course we take some stops, so we're actually almost 5 to 6 hours on the way. Then we arrive in Florence or Firenze. It's when you arrive, it seems a bit like a big city, but then when you park your Vespa and you go inside, it's actually really nice to be there and really relaxing to just check all the amazing architectural buildings that are there. You'll have some time to check it out, and then we'll go for a group dinner again, and then everybody goes to the hotel to have a good night's sleep, because the next day we go to Lucca. And from Florence to Lucca, we'll first stop at Lago de Certane. It's the one you see on the picture. It's a very nice spot to have a morning coffee and just chill in the sun for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour before we continue our trip to Vinci. And in Vinci, Vinci is the hometown of, or the birth town of Leonardo da Vinci. There's a museum, there's his home that you can check. And we also have a small lunch break in Vinci. And then from Vinci, we go, or we continue our way to Lucca. And Lucca is actually a medieval city still that is still surrounded surrounded by a wall. By the medieval wall. You can walk inside the walls as well. It's really it's kind of a small cozy town where we have a group dinner in an art gallery, which is really special and really amazing to be there, because it changes every week, the exhibitions that are there. So it's really special experience. So if you want to join the group dinner, you should definitely join it in Lucca for sure. And from Lucca to Pisa, if you're not following the group, you have actually two choices. You could go directly from Lucca to Pisa and take a break at the beach and enjoy the beach, because on the way you'll pass some pretty beaches where you can just enjoy the sand and the sea and the sun. Or you can do as we do with the group, and you go to Montefigatesi. It's a small village on top of a mountain, or like more a hill top. That's really like, it hasn't changed in 500 years. So it's really nice to just visit it and take a small walk inside before we go back to Pisa. And then on the way to Pisa, we have a break at the Ponte Maddalena, of course. It's a Devil's Bridge, as the legends call it, and it's a small arch bridge across the river Lima. And then we also have a hidden break at the river where we park our Vespas and we enjoy the water, and you can jump in from the rocks, and it's actually a really nice place to just enjoy each other's company and the water and the sun again. And then we'll arrive back in Pisa around 4-ish p.m. to then hand back in the Vespas and say goodbye to your scooter. And of course, we'll again have a dinner with a group that you can join or not join. And then the Saturday morning, it's your last breakfast, and then you're free to go. You don't have to go back home. If you want to stay in Italy, you can of course stay, but then you can do you're free to do whatever you want. So that's actually the Vespa trip in short, the destinations in detail. So we actually ended up at the Q&A session. I didn't see any questions popping up during my talk, so You can definitely ask some questions now if you have one. If you don't have one now, but you have one later, you can always email us at info@thevespatrip.com, or you can send us a message on the Vespa Trip on Facebook, of course. I have one question here. In Pompeii, is there a guide on the site itself? Yes, you can follow our guide that's there, and they can tell you a lot about it, but you can also book a guide on the location. So a guide, an Italian guide that can guide you through Pompeii. So it's up to you if you want to yeah, follow our guide or follow an Italian guide. Is there a motorcycle license needed? No. So you don't have to have a motorcycle license, and a car license is needed as well. Is valid as well. You just, if you're coming from the USA, you just need to make sure that you apply for an international driver license. So you can just apply at the municipality or something to just get your international driving license. But a car or motorcycle or boat, okay. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions here. Are there group dinners on the Amalfi tour? Yes, but they're more spontaneous than scheduled, so that's why I didn't talk about them. You also go for group dinner in Amalfi, or for group drinks after dinner as well. The guides on location will just talk to you when you arrive, like how they made the schedule for the coming week, and then you can just decide to come there and to go there and to join them. What time to start each morning? The group mostly starts for both Toscany and Amalfi, by the way. They mostly start between 8:30 and 9:30. It depends a bit on what tour they are doing. If you're driving solo and not following the group, you can of course choose, but you can always ask the guides on how many or how much time you would need to calculate to reach the next destination, so you know a bit on what time frame you should leave. We plan to travel each day on our own. Can we join the group dinners if we wish? Yes, you can. The group dinners are not exclusively for the people joining or following the group on the tour. You can just join them in the evening as well, even if you drive solo. Vespa 300? No, we only drive Vespa 125 cc's. So that's the only kind we have and the only kind we can rent. Paolo, for a family trip, is there any restriction on the children's ages? We cannot restrict on ages, but for a child to go on a Vespa, they mostly have to be 140 centimeters, as they need to be able to reach the foot stands with their feet. So if they cannot reach it, they cannot join on the Vespa, and if they cannot join on the Vespa, they cannot join on the tour, of course. But mostly that's from 1 meter and 40 centimeters height. That's mostly possible from that height on. What are time? Okay, okay, I think I answered everybody. If I skipped someone, please please let me know. I'm sorry if I did. I think I answered them all. Okay, if everybody's questions are answered, you can, nobody is responding anymore. I have one more small thing to talk about, and that's if you would ever be in Belgium. Did I say 170? No, 125. So it's 125 cc. Okay. So if you're ever in Belgium, we have a Vespa trip Bruges. It's a one-day experience where you explore Bruges and its surroundings in a unique way. Of course, you don't have to book it and go specially to Belgium for this. or you can if you want. But if you're ever in Belgium, you can also book this with us and explore the surroundings on a Vespa like you do in Italy. Okay, if those were the we get another question. Do we get the slides? Yes, I recorded the webinar, and I will send it by email after. So maybe it could be by the end of this week, and if not by the end of this week, it will be at the beginning of next week. You'll receive an email with the recording of the webinar. Prices shown, is that for a single person and room if I come alone? So the prices that are shown are always counted on 2 people per room and 2 people per Vespa. So if you're solo booking, you'll have to count 120 euros extra for the Vespa and 250 euros extra for the hotel rooms. So the prices that are shown are always counted per person, but counting for 2 people on the room and 2 people on the Vespa. Do you need an international license from any country? Sorry, yes, I indeed only mentioned the USA, because for the USA, it's definitely the case. If you have a driver license that's from Europe, you don't need it. So anything that's inside Europe, you can just use your European one. But if you're outside, from outside of Europe, you need indeed an international driver license. Do we ever get guests who want to pair with someone? Yes, very seldomly, but sometimes we get the question from other solo travelers if they can join another solo traveler, but it's rare, so it doesn't really happen a lot. Peter asks if you can see this webinar again. Yes, Peter, I will send it to everybody who's subscribed for the webinar, so you can rewatch it whenever you want. Glenn license, yes. What about the UK? Yes, that's quite a new one this year, of course. We asked it. We asked this question to our local partners as well in Italy, and they hadn't figured it out as well. So I'm guessing for now it's kind of a flu situation where you can both use your British one and the international one, because they didn't have or didn't alter the law or the regulations about that. But I would recommend for now, for this summer, if you're from the UK, that you just apply for your international driver's license as well. We'll try to get confirmation about it before summer, of course, but in Italy, the regulations and the law might take a while to confirm it. So I would advise you to apply for the international one. Okay. If those were the questions, all that's left for me is to thank you to follow our webinar and to subscribe. I hope you're a bit more enthusiastic now to book our Vespa trip in Italy. If you have any more questions, you can always email them or send them on Facebook. I'm reading here that people are looking forward already. You already booked. That's great. Welcome to the Vespa Trippers, I would say. It was my pleasure to introduce you to this trip, and I hope to see you in booking next week. Okay, great, Martin. If you need help booking your trip, you can always contact us, and then I hope we'll see you in Italy. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.